Texas managed to take down a top 4 squad, being Vancouver Surge last weekend in one of the major 4 qualifying matches that they needed to basically win to avoid the champs relegation zone, or the not making champs sort of zone. We're going to be looking at mainly the S&D because I feel like there's some really pivotal points there, but we're mainly going to be trying to focus on the reason why OpTic Texas has gone from a really poor, fundamentally team working sort of team to a team that has managed to beat one of the best teams in the league right now, Vancouver Surge. So as I said, we're going to be focusing on mainly the Hacienda Search and Destroy. So if you're a ranked player and you want to have some S&D tips on how you can play with your team or your squad, or how you can solo queue and play off the rest of your team effectively, this is going to be for you. But also if you're a fan of the CDL and you want to know what OpTic Texas have seemed to have changed between when they had other players like Pred and Kenny on the squad to now their current squad in the Major 4 qualifiers, this video is going to be for you. Just a reminder of where OpTic Texas are currently positioned in the table. They are currently 8th with 155 CDL points, and Vancouver Surge almost double the CDL points and 4th. So they're playing clearly a top four team here, but they managed to get the dub. They had no right winning it. People were betting against them. People did not think OpTic Texas would be able to take the dub home, but they managed to do so, and we're going to be looking at exactly how that happened. Before we get fully into the S&D, I'm going to take a look at a little bit of a listening on the Skyline Hardpoint, because I feel like part of their huge fundamental change in going from losing consistently and people expecting them to fail over and over again, a really nice listening in Skyline Hardpoint, which we're going to take a look at in a second. Overview of the KDs are staggering. There's not one player who's below a 1.24. Every person seems to have an even amount of damage, and every player seems to have a similar amount of deaths. So everyone's doing the right thing. Whereas on the other side of Vancouver, you can see the deaths are quite substantial. The KDs vary quite considerably, and the damage isn't quite all there, or at least it's not shared. And that's a really nice way to see, to very quickly statistically gauge how well a team is working towards each other and how well they're working together. The fact that the stats are so aligned for OpTic Texas is a good sign. So we're actually going to turn down the CDL music we're all probably sick of hearing by now, and take a little bit of a listening on one of the Hardpoint games, being the final product is this, the 48 kills from Shotzzy. Absolutely huge. But again, you can see damage is very, very similar. They're both, every single one of these players is doing the right amount of work in it. Shotzzy's there simply cleaning up the kills. That Dashy and Skies, maybe Huke, have been able to get people 1 shot, 2 shot, whatever it is. Shotzzy's there to clean up because he's always in the right place at the right time. But as I say, damage is nearly almost perfect. The range in that damage is staggering compared to the range in this one. You can see it varies substantially. So let's kick it off with the listening we have here. I'm going to make sure this is audible. There we go. So this is just going into a P, towards the end of P4, and you can see at the moment the situation is you've got Dashy player number 8 before. So this is going to go from P1 into P4 into P1. You can see OpTic Texas have already rotated to the new hill. They're already watching the crossing. Dashy and Vancouver Surge have really the opportunity, because they've got the bad spawns, bear in mind, to sit on this left-hand side. Don't forget P2 is on the left. The good spawns for P1 is on the left. And Vancouver Surge have the opportunity to successfully rotate and get control of P1 and P2. But yeah, let's see how this plays out.
Now going up 30. Let's hear the comps from OpTic Texas.
I just want to say as well, you can't hear Skies. I think there was an issue with the CDL broadcast. You actually can't hear Skies in the callouts, but you can hear him. You can see his mouth talking. So if you're good enough at lip reading, you can be able to see what he's been able to say. But unfortunately, you're missing Skies' comms. But there's enough comms to fill the void anyway. So what's really nice is they're already aware of where they're spawned. You can see player number 6 in Shotzzy is already looking for these kills, or he's already pushing out the back spawn to make sure that Vancouver Surge can't play there. If you take a little bit of a listen in here, he said the spawning old. So what he's doing there is really fundamental. He's looking at the scoreboard. He can see that they've just spawned in because the skull has disappeared from the scoreboard. He knows no one's not there, and he's managed to communicate to the rest of the team that they're back there. They're looking at spawns, they're hearing spawns, they're looking to see where their teammates are spawning. Really good signs of teamwork. Huke's already saying, I have top right. He's communicating without having to be in us. He's communicating where he's watching. There's a lot of energy. This is only with 3/4 of the people actually being able to be heard at this point. And you can see how much teamwork and how much communication they're having. Whereas we go back to a week's time where the communication was a little bit lackluster, It's a huge difference and really highlights just how much they've come along from a teamwork perspective, which is why I wanted to showcase this as additional to the S&D. So this is really nice. They're communicating effectively. You can see Shotzzy and Huke are being absolutely enabled to just push and run and be essentially chokehold Surge in their spawn. You've got Dashy playing the pinch back here. Really nice gameplay. You can hear Dashy communicate that he's blocking. This is really important gameplay information to allow Shotzzy and Huke both to push up and pretty much trap Surge in their spawn. Shotzzy's just said, "Have you got my short?" Dashy says, "Yep, got your short." Again, this is really perfect teamwork and a really perfect use of communicating as a team that just show how far OpTic Texas has managed to come, at least in this series. I don't know if it's going to fade, but we all knew it wasn't a talent issue. We all know it was something wrong in the camp or something like that. And I think the addition of Huke, who's a really passionate player, coming in and really showing the volume in the comms here is fundamental to this dub, even though the stats don't necessarily show it. But he speaks with a decent amount of urgency for people wanting to listen to him. They're trying to work as a team. Huke's trying to call chow time with me. This is just a really good example of how they're managing to work more effectively in a squad together. And what's hopefully really important, really easy to see is that every single thing they're either doing together because they've communicated it, or that one's looking over another player while they're out there. It's a really, really good example of how they can work as a team and how they've come again. If you try and remember the comms of us listening on Skyline last weekend, they've come a long bloody way. The comms last weekend, or maybe the weekend before, were appalling. Even the OpTic guys in the watch party themselves mentioned it wasn't great. But I just wanted to highlight that at the beginning of today's video, saying that they've always had the talent. They've got a few of the best players in the league at the moment in their team, or at least arguably in the top 10. So it's not a talent issue, and it's just nice to see the change in the communication into this game. So the game we're actually going to be watching is the S&D. Just to show you guys the stats in the S&D itself, we moved to map 2. Again, it's a really good. This is the sort of game mode where people can differ quite a lot statistically, but even here, damage output seems to be fairly regular. Everyone's doing their thing, but let's take a dive into, and they managed to win 6-3, losing the first 2 rounds, winning the next 4, conceding a little one in the middle, and then winning the final 2 rounds. So let's have a deep dive into this gameplay, see what they do that enables them to get the dub, and see what you can do hopefully when you load next into ranked play with your squad to guarantee you the win yourself. So what you can see here is that these are important stats. So OpTic Texas have got a very, very solid first opening dual win percentage. They get their first bloods fairly consistently, but if I scroll back a bit, their conversion percentage from that first blood is 10th. So maybe not as an important stat as you might think. Let's slip this forward a bit. So OpTic Texas seem to have the control. We've got Huke with the bomb, and they're all playing together. More importantly here, they're all playing together. And they're trying to wait things out. They're taking a little bit of a slow approach. Often what happens for OpTic Texas is that people don't play together. You've got Shotzzy who's a bit of a rogue player. Huke's themselves a bit of a rogue player where they like to go out and get a first blood. But you can see, look how closely knit they are in this situation. This isn't quite right. 2 seconds. You can see just how closely they are on the minimap themselves. They don't have much map control as a result of this, but and obviously they do lose this round. They lose the first 2, but it's just nice to see how close they are together at this point. Challenge with the team. Vegas have done a really good job there of covering players, not allowing them to die, essentially. It's almost like a game of chess where one player moves out of position, there's always one to cover. It's a really nice example of teamwork from the Surge side. Unfortunately, Shotzzy did get caught on the cross, I think, at top. And that's the first blood going to Surge, and I think they pretty much go from there. Surge then have the ability, because they've got the map control and the numbers, they can risk sending someone on the pinch. They can risk someone doing that because they have the first blood. OpTic managed to get a decent amount of pressure there. They do get the second blood on Abuser. But because of the time they bought, O4 has managed to get an absolutely disgusting 2-piece there. Really working with the team. And you can see, if we look at the minimap here, Abuser pinches, you can see every single member of OpTic turn as soon as this player engages in that gunfight. Every single one. Those two turn, they turn. It then allows player 4 and 3 in Nasty Neptune to pinch and clean up the kills. But he's drawing, because of this presence here, he's drawn so much pressure towards him and allowed the rest of his team to pick up the scraps. Really nice flank, but that all happened because they were manned up. So Surge are actually going for a full-on bang out towards B here, and you'll notice they're, again, very tight together. The benefit of being this tight together in an S&D round is that even if you get the first blood, trade, and trade, which you should hopefully be able to rely on, you're going to end up winning the round. Even if you don't get the first blood, even if OpTic get the first kill here, trade, and trade, you'll end up with a 1v1 with the last player alive on Surge being towards the bomb and the last player at OpTic Texas being somewhere else on the map. I think this player is Skies at the moment, just trying to look over A themselves. But a really nice defense here. I think the team, I think OpTic are trying to defend B because they know they have a better conversion rate of retaking A than B, at least before this match, which is I'm going to get onto later. But again, really nice defensive strategy here, and they do get the first blood. But the disadvantage of Skies being all over here is that the first blood means it's now even. Now there's 3v3 at this site, while Skies is absolutely nowhere to be seen. So let's just see how this plays out. And 04's doing a really nice pinch. There's a lot of noise happening from the back here. No one on OpTic sort of reading this. They probably know they know Neptune's there because he just tried to shoot through the little wall. They know player 3's there in Nasty because they've just shot. And then obviously they know Abuser's here. So I think they're considering that all of their focus is on the front, and not one of them is considering the pinch here, even though there is 3 of them. And I think that's because they don't have the numbers in this situation. 04 manages to get a really nice pinch, and it then completely opens up. The game comes from that pinch, and I think the round just gets finished because Skies isn't quite able to clutch the 1v3. But again, even when, something to highlight, even when this player's planting, look how close their team are around the bomb plant, just to try and allow the defense there. You don't have a team watching the pinch from 9, you don't have this player trying to get into office so they can watch the bomb. Both of the Surge players who aren't planting the bomb are around the bomb, able in the trade if they need to. But Skies ends up dying anyway, and that's the round. So that's 2 of the 3 round losses that OpTic actually take. Let's see how differently they play this next offense. So again, they play a relatively narrow arrowhead through the middle of the map. And what's different this time is that you have Huke actually running through the middle quite openly, gets him to a real nice position. And what they've done, this is brilliant actually, what they've managed to do here. Skies challenges open, because it's pretty common for ARs to be just set this top middle area here, whether this side or this side. They've allowed Huke to go up because they have Skies here. Skies is here challenging Neptune top open. That allows Huke to not be seen from above. Huke's able to get into a really nice position, which I think pays off in this round. But just gaining that map control is really, really nice. And although OpTic are relatively not quite spread, Surge are spread. They're going to be able to single out Surge really nicely here. But let's just see how this plays out. Shots is in a really nice beneficial situation now where Dashy's looking over him, Shots is looking over Dashy. Neither of these 2 players are going to be able to die without one of them being able to trade. So again, a really nice situation. Sky's playing pretty safe. He's just shot and he's reading currently the pinch through open. So if players, so he's expecting a Surge player to be on B and then running through here maybe, because he's just shot, he knows that the chances of that is increased. So again, a real nice display of cohesive teamwork here, where you've got Skies looking over Huke's getting into a really nice position. You've got Dashy and Shotsy playing really nicely together, making sure they're covering each other's backs. And then you've got Skies just playing a little bit more defensively because he knows the only place he can die from is open, again, because they're communicating. A really nice display of solid teamwork. So Huke shows presence top open, gets out of dodge there completely, and decides to back up and sit with the rest of his team. So now, because of that play from Huke, the rest of Surge are being very much aware of the fact that there might be Huke somewhere around, which is it's always nice. You can see how much attention now, because of that little Huke pinch, Surge are now playing towards the rest of the side of the map. They're sort of looking for Huke. They're like, right, he's got to be here somewhere. If you just, again, I'm focusing on the minimap because most of the action is on the minimap here. But what's really nice is that what I might do actually is change it slightly. There we go. So I've got both now. Hopefully this is a little bit nicer. But what you have here is Huke's managed to do failed the jump up. He showed a bit of presence. Now you've got 2 Surge players completely looking for Huke. And that allows the OpTic players to pretty much do what they want towards this side of the map, because they know that two of the players, or they know that someone on the Surge team is going to be looking for Huke at least, so they can now use their man advantage over towards the bomb site towards A.
In that box.
Yeah, now's the time to do it.
Weather's heating up.
It's spring, yeah. Yeah, use your planting.
Oh, beautiful. Except today was just rainy.
Well, that's what you want for your plant.
So again, they're not sure. They're trying to look for someone towards A. You can see OpTic are a little bit hesitant because they're not sure what's happening. Surge also aren't quite sure what's happening because of the amount of time that's happened between Huke pinching. But you can see now Surge are second guessing themselves. They're not really sure what's happening. At the same time, OpTic don't really know what's happening. They're just trying to see if they can spot anyone. You've got people top window. You've got player number 7 who I think they're waiting for, who's Skies, who's going to try and take a couple of angles on. I think they're just trying to play for some info towards here. Meanwhile, you've got Surge players who also have in the back of the mind that Huke might still be around.
That's a good point, Joe. You do need water.
But yeah.
That makes the world go round. Hello. Shotzi this time gets the first blood.
Great first blood from Shotzi there, enabling the whole map to open up. Surge now all turn towards this bomb site, but now they're in a 4v3 situation where all they need to do is make sure they're covered from shots. They're covering Shotzi.
They don't win the round. Been one of the big issues. Can they close it out here?
Big kill from 04, leveling it up. But now we're in a position where OpTic have got the bomb down. Managed to get a couple of kills, and it's now a 2 versus 2, and they know where both players are. I think that both teams are aware of both players are. Huke managed to get a disgusting kill out of fences, which enables them to. It's a 2v1 at this point. But even if Huke didn't get that kill, Huke's in a really overpowered position, being in this top window area. This is a disgusting position. If someone's in this position, they've got the bomb down, a 1v3 can happen, and it has happened. I see Ghosty do it sometimes. Yeah, anyone in this position, it's over, pretty much. So Huke being able to get here after causing the distraction up towards office has enabled the team to just do what they want, pretty much. Allows Skies just to play his life a little bit. Skies shows a little bit of presence. But yeah, Abuser's now forced to challenge. He's aware that there's someone top window. At the same time, they know it's Huke, so they could be pinching. So this is a real sticky situation. As soon as Shotzi got that first kill on Nasty, it was over. And that's the next round done.
All right. OpTic right back into things, but can they stop them on defense? Last time it was an all-out B hit.
So it's almost a mirror image. And what I really like here is how close they are together. So the danger sometimes when they send a single player towards B and the rest of A is that they can be outnumbered. And as we know in Search and Destroy, if you're outnumbered, you can be traded easier. And you can result in having a 1 versus 1 with no knowledge of where the other people are. So instead of what they're trying to do is stay together, get as much info as they can in that process. You can see Dashy here has actually got a really nice line of sight that enables him to see if anyone comes through this open window here, this open bit towards the catwalk. Yes, he can't see the whole route to B, but he's with his team and he can say whether or not someone crosses here, and that's information itself. And realistically, they need to retake bomb site, they retake a bomb site.
Top holes, nobody challenging it from OpTic Texas. They're playing the old, we're going to stop A, we'll retake B. Is a class swap for 04 is in. And
again, they've showed a decent amount of presence towards A. They don't see anything. You can see every single person on OpTic was there. They don't see anything. Now their perspective changes slightly. You've got Dashy trying to Skies trying to shoot underneath B just to make sure that nobody's planting, trying to go for the wallbang spot. Doesn't get anything. So now in a situation where OpTic Texas don't really know what's happening, and I'm not sure what Surge are doing here. 04's here with a bomb by himself, and the other 3 members of the team are just nowhere to be seen.
But it's such a slow rotation where you're...
But you can see how much OpTic are playing their life. You don't have Shotzi, who has done in the past, going out being first-blooded. There's no one trying to make a hero play here. They're trying to play more fundamental S&D, and it seems to be working. They're playing very, very defensive. They're not being massively over-aggressive. You've got, just to the setup, you've got Shotzi watching A from here. You can see if anyone comes to A from this side, whether they come through you. You've got Dashy, who's sat in top platform here, just making sure that that area is covered, who's also sort of watching the pinch for Shotzi. You've got Huke, who's looking over B bombed, and whilst he's in office, making sure both the office flank is clear. And then you have Skies, who's pretty much looking at this side. So you can see the line of defense OpTic have basically enables them to get a good, decent retake here. They get the info, people are at B. Huke then moves up into his position, as you can see, just like so. He then gets a nice kill through the bottom of the thing, whilst he's got Skies looking over him. And that kill completely opened the map up. And whilst that's all happening, now it's time for the Shotzi flank. Now Surge are forced to look forward and forced to get the trades on their players, forced to try and get the bomb down. Shotzzy's pinching when he knows he can. The timing of that pinch is far more smart than it used to be when they were unsuccessful on their S&Ds. Unfortunately, Neptune, again, on themselves and can't really do much. But what happens here is really nice. They get the information that there's a player here. And then you can see every single member of OpTic Texas try and get that kill. They're there together. You've got 4 people you're dealing with. Neptune tries to go for the ego chow, and that's the round over.
Winning then just 5 straight now for Huke.
So now this is a little bit of an interesting play here. Shotzzy tries to play a really nice play, a route through the water, while the rest of the 3 of OpTic Texas hit A. This could have ended terribly because realistically, OpTic have got the, or Surge have got the man advantage towards this side of the map. But they've allowed Huke to get so far up this left-hand side, get the info. They know where OpTic Texas are going now. All of the attention is now towards the A-bomb. And because Surge don't have control, I don't think they have control. Oh no, they do have control. But yeah, they're now looking for Shotzzy because, you know, it's Shotzzy. And unfortunately lost a gunfight there. And he's played that really, really well. Get a kill, get out. That's sometimes why OpTic fail, is because Shotzzy makes his plays and it is simply red. Unfortunately, Abuser with the AR here simply couldn't win that gunfight. Shotzzy gets away, and now they're looking for him. And now, because of Shotzzy's playstyle, they're aware that he's behind. Similar to how Huke was advantageous in the previous round, Shotzzy's now being annoying. Abuser's Neptune's now constantly aware of them. 04's now looking for Shotzzy, and Shotzzy's just trying to get out, trying to play his life as much as he can. Meanwhile, on the other side, you have Neptune kill Dashy, Huke for the trade because they have the man advantage over there. And now Shotzzy rewraps the bomb site, trying to just, and again, they're trying to focus this A-bomb plant. Now, what's really interesting is they're not making any noise towards A. So what, after all that kerfuffle and all of that action, they know it's a 2 versus 1. They're playing a little bit slower here. They'll say, okay, they'll wait for Nasty to check the bomb. They've waited a good amount of seconds for Nasty to do that. They're playing that they were in that position where even if they'd have been found, or even if they'd have been seen, they'd have been able to trade, or they'd have been able to get out. But this is the whole point of having the man advantage, that you can trade should you need to. But a really nice play there. They delayed it just long enough for Nasty to check the bomb, not see it, send Nasty towards B, and now he's in a position where it's not completely favourable. I don't necessarily like this play from Nasty. He's in a situation where it's really tight, close engagements. He doesn't really have the gun that benefits him. He's playing against Shotzzy and Skies, one of whom's definitely going to have a sub. You need to be pushing this with a sub. He's managed to collect one, which is great, but that whole situation would have been a lot easier to deal with if he had a sub out. Skies is overlooking a really nice angle there. And yeah, that's 3 rounds straight, as Maven said. So again, it's a 3-1 split from Surge, with most of them going towards B-bomb. Dashy gets a little bit of information and backs up and plays his life. Again, you don't have, what's really nice, you don't have someone trying to make a hero play off the start. You've got everyone playing a little bit reserved here, playing more fundamental Call of Duty, and it seems to be paying off. You've got Dashy trying to get the wallbang spots just in case there's anyone planting. Meanwhile, you've got Shotzzy and Skies not seeing absolutely anything towards A. Dash has just seen a lot, and this is where the OpTic team are pretty much aware of where things are happening. Let's see how this happens. So it's a 4 versus 4, completely clean retake, and because there's always Shotzzy on the map, there's someone dedicated to watch them. You've got Abuser completely out of the situation, trying to watch the pinch, because they know Shotzzy's playstyle. And I think OpTic Texas have learned to rein that in a little bit, because now what's happened, because you've got Abuser completely playing out the play here, it's now a 4 versus 4 on the 4 versus 3 on the site for OpTic Texas, apart from the fact you've got Skies out here. But because of Shotzzy's playstyle and the fact he's now happy to be far more engaged in these gunfights, they're in a far better situation. So Shotzzy's not completely committing to life. You've got people playing very, very passive here. They're playing patient. They're waiting for Skies to get there for the numbers. Boozer sends an R6D in, I believe. Shotzzy backs up. 04 manages to get a kill on Skies, which is unfortunate. Shotzzy checks his corner, gets the trade on 04, and now it's GG's. OpTic Texas have somehow easily managed to take control of B site. I think Vancouver Surge predicted their use and the ability to use the R6D, and they just get absolutely smoked. That's just a case of having the numbers there, winning the gunfights, and at the end of the day, you know how hard it is to break P4 on this objective, on this hill. You know how hard it is to break P4. It was essentially Surge trying to break P4 to get on the bomb, and that's that to check the bomb. That's essentially all it was. OpTic Texas just took that rock control. Really nice trade, even though they didn't get the first blood. Really nice trade from Shotzi, but that all come from the fact that you had a Boozer slightly out of the play. They didn't have a really nice setup, and they really relied overly on the S60s to retake that round.
Trying to get better, fundamentally really sound crossbows, or I mean, they have their maps they're not great at, but.
Okay, so now this is the first time we see OpTic really this split. So they are literally drawn across the map, and I don't mind this sometimes, but they really need to try and play their life. So unfortunately, Dashi just killed a Boozer. It's nasty strikes. Skies gets naded. And I think this is one of the rounds that top OpTic Texas unfortunately do lose.
The opening skirmish goes their way, and they'll take the 3-2 edge.
But again, there's just nowhere to be traded. You've got two solo players there. Shotzi with a sub up top wasn't able to trade Dashi. You've got Huke, who's managing to plant the bomb. The only advantage, I guess, to dying first is that you can look at the kill cam and see where the blue dots are and therefore know where the enemies are. But Shotzi's just playing this really weird angle. I mean, he's not watching much. He's not getting much information for Kyler, who's sat on the bomb site trying to just watch everything. This guy's probably absolutely tweaking, not knowing where to look because Shotzi has nothing for him. I think Shotzi's probably reading the fact that they might jump through the window and try and get top mid control, which can happen, but even so, he's probably going to get traded, maybe get 1-2 kills at least. He probably could have watched something more here. So he's given up all map control. Who's trying to play his life? He unfortunately drops to Neptune because he got team shot, and now Shotzi's in a position where they know it's Shotzi. It's a 4 versus 3, 3 versus 1, and he just gets picked off. So that loss all came from the fact that, first of all, they played separately. They get naded, they get first blooded, and then coming for the retake or coming from the defense of the bomb site that they just planted out, they weren't together. And Shotzi, even though he was almost not playing as a player, it might as well have been Huke in a 1 versus 3 because Shotzi really wasn't in the engagement at all. He was hoping Kyler would get 1 and then he'd try and retake, but this is such a hard area to push and check bomb from. You're just going to get pushed out, especially in an man advantage. So probably wasn't the best try from Shotzi there. Okay, next time we've got a huge bang out from Vancouver Surge towards A. I think they've had a couple of unsuccessful rounds towards B, so thinking, right, let's try and switch this up. OpTic are clearly good at retaking this bomb site towards the B side. Let's try and see what we can do here. What's really interesting here is the fact that they rewrap this round back to B. So they Surge throw a trophy round towards A. You've got OpTic Texas, who have got decent amount of top mid control. Every single person of OpTic are top mid. You've got Dashi, who's the lone player towards open, but everyone else is at closed. I think they spot Nasty, or Nasty gets spotted. And then weirdly, Surge split 2 and 2, where I don't know whether this is only a good play if Neptune and Abuza stay alive. This is, other than that, it's not a great play.
You have a lot of players to deal with here from OpTic.
But Surge needs to be making a lot of noise here, otherwise they're going to suspect something. Neptune's been spotted. Neptune needs to try and get out as quickly as he can. He does get stunned, which does, realistically, that's a great play from Neptune because it allows OpTic Texas to fully focus in on that area, and they think now that they're going A because Surge managed to get all the way back round to the area B without being spotted. And the whole reason OpTic are now here is because of Neptune. So shout out Neptune to that. It was a really good play. Unfortunately, Surge was planted at B, which is a very easy hill, very easy bomb site, supposedly for OpTic to take. So what they do know, what does OpTic know at this point? They know you've got Neptune somewhere in the back. They're separate from the crowd, okay? Then you've got the bomb planter at B, and then probably a setup occurring at B. Now, what Skies does nicely here is he makes sure that players from Surge can't get around this site. So he backs up and separates from his team to make sure that no one from Surge can get all the way back to the spawn and pick this up. So he picks this up early and makes sure that Surge are pretty much trapped at most over this area here. Because realistically, if Surge were trying to get out towards the hedge or try to get towards like the bottom office or vault area, Skies is there to pick them off. But the rest of OpTic do something really nice here. They play off each other. They're playing together. They show presence towards middle. Throw their stuns and nades, they double nade, and they get a good amount of information that way. That's when Neptune decides to take the pinch, but because they're fully aware that Neptune's still out, and again, that's really good information from them, they manage to get the kill on Neptune, who's eventually pinch in middle. Skies wins the gunfight towards bomb site itself from here, so again, that solo play is actually paid off there. And all that solo play, so Huke getting that kill, Sky's getting that kill is happening from guaranteed spots where they're not going rogue. That's not Shotzzy overstepping a mark at all. That's not Huke getting too far involved into the enemy spawn. It's a really nice, almost defensive play, and almost letting the kills come to them, which is something we haven't seen from OpTic in the past. And it's a real refreshing change of pace. Now it's a 4 versus 3, and that's pretty much what it comes down to. Easy kills for OpTic, and now that is 5-3. So the final round, spoiler alert, final round comes down to this, where because of how effective or how much they read in a pinch now, Surge are now playing 2 players at B and 2 players at A. What they fail to do here, so this is nice. This is actually really nice play from Surge. What is even nicer is Shotzzy's resilience here to just play their life considerably. Shotzzy's playing a real cruddy corner here. In this corner here, he knows he can't die. Really, if people from Surge chow through here, unless they're doubling up and they double kill him or they team shot him, he's probably absolutely fine. But he's in a position there where he's probably not likely going to die. What happens over this side in Dash's POV is they're ball banging that. It's a fairly current spot. But look how close, I'm going to zoom in fully here. Look how close the OpTic Texas team are pushed together here. It's very, very tight. The only place open is the pinch through lobby, which Shotzzy doesn't have. But that's not going to happen this early into the round because they don't have enough time. But this whole kill comes from the fact that you've got who was it? I think Huke was trying to shoot through the wall. Dashy shoots through the wall. Nasty shows presence, but because of the simple amount of numbers OpTic have over this side, it's a 2 versus 1 on Nasty. Huke and Dashy put damage out to them both, and now it's a situation where Shotzzy's got a clean route through to A, and he can pinch because now they have the first blood. OpTic now have the first blood. Surge are forced to play relatively close to the bomb site because they know that's where they're aggressing. Nasty's going to watch the kill come and say, "Yep, there's a lot of people here." They might see Shotzzy in the pinch through the kill come. I'm not quite sure. Maybe not. It might be a little bit too early. But this whole situation allow Shotzzy to make a really nice move here, where he's going to pinch, and Surge aren't going to be able to react to it. So unfortunately, Abuse is in a position now where he's completely stuck. You do have Neptune top window. You've got the help with 04, who's top middle. But first blood is huge for OpTic here. They're actually going to manage to translate this. And okay, that is a disgusting set of position here. So he goes top office and just sits in the corner and waits. He eventually managed to get that kill because he's checking the corners, he's waiting for the kill, and then he just gets out. Now the 2 players left alive now have Shotzzy to worry about somewhere in the back. They're now tweaking, but again, that whole flank wouldn't have been able to happen unless Huke and Dashy managed to get that first blood over towards A. Abuja shows presence, he tries to get out. I think he gets scared or gets spotted by Huke, who sees him in that corner. He then gets forced out. Dashy managed to get the kill because, again, teamwork's there. They then pinch the bomb site and win the round and win the game. But yeah, really, really, really impressive showing there on all game modes from OpTic Texas. They do really well, but I feel like that little bit of a listening on the Skyline Hardpoint, plus how they work so well together in that S&D, just shows how far they've come as a team. And OpTic might be back. Worrying if you're the likes of Rocker and Cloud9, who'd have probably hoped to take OpTic's spot, but they might just be back. They just need to keep whatever fundamentals they've got going now in their head, and they should be absolutely good. Let me know your thoughts as always. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao for now.